Ethan Carter arrived at Harrison Global Corporation before sunrise, just as he did every morning. The giant office tower in downtown New York was already glowing with lights as employees rushed inside carrying coffee
Look at
and
him,
laptops.
he's still filing.
Ethan wore the same simple blue shirt, black trousers,
like a machine.
and worn-out shoes he had worn for years. He greeted the security guards with a warm smile and quietly began organizing documents, delivering files between departments, and helping wherever he was needed. Although he worked harder than most people in the building, very few employees appreciated him. To them, he was just a quiet office worker who never complained, never argued, and never tried to stand out. During the morning coffee break, several employees gathered near the break room, laughing loudly. One of them looked at Ethan as he carefully cleaned a spilled cup of coffee from the floor. "Look at him," one man said with a grin. "He's been here for years and still hasn't moved up. I guess some people are born to stay at the bottom." Another employee laughed and added, "Maybe if he talked once in a while, people would remember he even exists." The group burst into laughter. Ethan heard every word, but instead of responding, he simply smiled politely and continued with his work. Not everyone treated him badly. A young intern named Emily quietly walked over and handed Ethan a fresh cup of coffee. "Don't listen to them," she said softly. "I think you're one of the nicest people in this building." Ethan thanked her with a gentle smile and wished her a wonderful day. Emily often wondered why someone as intelligent and calm as Ethan remained in such a low position. There was something about him that didn't fit the image everyone else had created. Later that afternoon, excitement spread through every floor of the building. Employees received an urgent email from the executive office ordering everyone to report to the main conference hall immediately. Rumors spread like wildfire. Some believed the company had been sold. Others feared massive layoffs were coming. Managers hurried through the hallways while department heads whispered nervously to one another. Within minutes, the massive conference hall was filled with hundreds of employees. The atmosphere was tense. Everyone stared toward the stage where the company's senior executives and board members slowly entered. The CEO looked unusually serious. Conversation stopped, and complete silence filled the room. Then something unexpected happened. Instead of beginning the meeting, the chairman stepped down from the stage and walked through the crowd. Employees watched in confusion as he headed directly toward Ethan, who was standing quietly at the back of the hall. The chairman smiled warmly, extended his hand, and greeted him with deep respect. "Welcome back, Mr. Carter," he said loudly enough for everyone to hear. "We've been waiting for you." A wave of confusion swept across the room. The employees who had mocked Ethan only hours earlier looked at one another in disbelief. Some thought it was a joke. Others wondered if Ethan had been promoted. The chairman then turned toward the crowd and spoke into the microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen," he announced, "it is my honor to introduce the true owner of Harrison Global Corporation." The room fell into complete silence as every eye turned toward the quiet employee they had ignored for years. No one could believe what they had just heard, and the biggest surprise of their lives was only beginning. The conference hall remained completely silent. No one moved, and no one dared to speak. The same employees who had laughed at Ethan only hours earlier now stared at him with wide eyes. Some looked embarrassed, while others lowered their heads, unable to face him. Ethan calmly walked onto the stage beside the chairman, adjusted the microphone, and looked across the room with a gentle smile. "I know many of you are surprised," he began. "Yes, I am the owner of Harrison Global Corporation. My family built this company many years ago. When my father passed away, ownership was transferred to me. But instead of sitting in a luxury office, I chose to work among you as an ordinary employee." A wave of whispers spread through the audience. Ethan continued, "I wanted to understand what really happens inside this company. Reports and numbers can tell you how much profit a business makes, but they can never tell you how people treat one another. I wanted to know who respected others, who worked with honesty, and who judged people by their appearance." The room became even quieter. He looked toward the group that had mocked him every day. "Many of you believe that a person's clothes, position, or salary determine their value. You laughed at someone you thought had no power. but true character is revealed by how you treat people who cannot benefit you. The employees who had insulted Ethan felt ashamed. One of them slowly stood up and said, "Mr. Carter, we're deeply sorry. We judged you without knowing who you were. We made a terrible mistake." Ethan nodded respectfully. "I accept your apology, but every action has consequences. A company cannot succeed if respect is missing." The chairman then announced several important decisions. Employees who had repeatedly bullied or disrespected others would be dismissed after a formal review. Managers who ignored workplace harassment would also be held accountable. On the other hand, workers known for their honesty, kindness, and teamwork would receive promotions, salary increases, and special recognition. Then Ethan called Emily, the young intern, onto the stage. She looked nervous as she walked forward. Ethan smiled and said, "When everyone else ignored me, you treated me with kindness and respect. You never expected anything in return. This company needs leaders with a heart like yours." The audience applauded as Ethan announced that Emily would be offered a full-time management position after completing her internship, along with a scholarship to continue her education. Many employees wiped tears from their eyes. They realized that success was not measured by wealth or job titles but by integrity and compassion. Before ending the meeting, Ethan shared one final message. Never underestimate anyone. The quietest person in the room may carry the greatest responsibility. Respect should never depend on someone's position because every person deserves dignity. The hall erupted into loud applause. From that day forward, Harrison Global Corporation became known not only as one of America's most successful billion-dollar companies but also as one of its most respectful workplaces. The story of the quiet employee who turned out to be the owner spread across the country, inspiring countless people to treat others with kindness. The end.